I had the opportunity to participate in 2023 fall semester exchange program in Seoul National University, so I would love to share about my wonderful journey. I'm going to talk about the background of SNU, meals, transportation, my academic experience, non-academic experience, and students and curricular. SNU is one of the top universities in South Korea, where its medical school is the most famous and competitive among all, and is one of the Sky universities, which are Seoul National University, Korea University, and Yonsei University. It is a public research university located in Gwanak, Seoul. It was founded in August 1946 by merging 10 institutions of higher education around the Seoul area. There are a variety of degree programs offered, and its facilities are complete, including a few libraries, museums, concert hall, and university newspaper. In 2023, it achieved 29 in QS World University rankings. Originally, the campus was located in Dongjeongdong, Jongno District, but in February 1975, most colleges of the university relocated to the new Gwanak campus, which is the current location. Thus, the location of Gwanak campus is kind of far away from the center of the city and was surrounded by many mountains and hills. As I'm a vegetarian who don't eat meat and the 5 punches, it was a little difficult for me to have meals that are completely clean because almost every dish contains onion. There were very little options of vegetarian restaurants, so I tried my best to avoid food with the 5 pungents. In SNU, there were many cafeterias and cafes to choose from, and I usually eat at the cafeteria at the student center, which cost only 1,000 won per meal. Normally they offer 3 dishes each session, and only a dish from them is 1,000 won, which includes rice and pumpkin, and 3 side dishes and a soup. The other 2 dishes are Korean dishes that cost around 5,000 won or 7,000 won. And many people are willing to choose them because they still cost lesser than food outside the campus. I will browse through the SNU application to check if the cafeteria menus are vegetarian. If yes, then I will eat there, but if no, I will choose the other places such as Loteria that offers vegan burgers, Burrito Bowl's restaurant where I can choose the fillings, or have Jumokbap with only rice and kimchi. There were many vegan restaurants and cafes around Seoul, especially in Itaewon and Hongdae. They were quite pricey compared to the others, but the food tasted amazing, so it was fine. On the other hand, my favorite restaurant was Osegehyang in Jongno-gu, Seoul, because it even offered vegetarian food without the 5 pungents. There were a variety of Korean dishes, and they were mentioned whether the dishes are with or without the 5 pungents. This was the only place that I could finally eat in peace without trying to get rid of the onions in my food. The prices are reasonable and the staffs are friendly, therefore it was my favorite go-to restaurant in Seoul. The transportation system in South Korea, especially in Seoul, is highly developed. Therefore, it was super convenient and efficient to go everywhere without your own transportation. You can go almost anywhere by metro and bus, which always come on time and the waiting time is short. From my observation, almost all walks of life, including old citizens, office workers, scholars, and even little kids who are still very young, take the metro or bus to their destinations. Although the metro lines were a little confusing at first, we will find it easy and convenient after getting used to it or getting familiar with the functions on applications like Naver Map and Kakao Map. The announcement about each station also came with different languages, most of the time in Korean and English, but will add in Chinese and Japanese at a more popular station where more foreigners visit. They will also announce which side of the door should be used for the convenience of the passengers who get ready to get down at the station. The announcement in the bus was the same. It announced all stops in Korean and English, and passengers can ring the bell if they are getting down at that particular stop. Besides, there were also seats specifically for old people, pregnant women, or people with disabilities. Most of the time, the healthy young people will not sit on these seats. Even though it was very crowded in the bus, these seats will be left empty for the specific groups. As I was leaving off campus, I needed to take the city bus to enter the campus. However, Seoul National University prepared shuttle buses that operated from early morning until 7 p.m. from the city into the campus and from the campus into the city for the convenience of the students. The shuttle buses are very convenient because they come every 3 minutes at peak hours and 50 minutes at normal times. Therefore, students do not have to wait for the bus for a long time. There are 2 pickup locations and 2 drop-off locations. one near Seoul National University entrance station, while the other one is near Daehakdo. These two locations are in opposite directions where students from SMU usually stay, and it is close to the metro station, which makes it easy to go everywhere. Moreover, it is free and you just need to get into the line and get onto the bus without any ID verification. On the other hand, the furthest I had traveled was from Seoul to Busan. I took the KTX, which stands for Korea Train Express, for 2.5 hours, where it cost slightly higher but was very comfortable. It did not require any baggage safety check or even ID check, just a ticket alone is enough. I also traveled to a few cities outside Seoul, such as Suwon and Anyang, all by bus and metro with a transport card alone. The course registration was extremely intense, where students often went to PC방 to access the page as quickly as possible, because the courses are open to all students without major restrictions or year restrictions. In my opinion, the course projects were harder than I expected, but there were weekly readings for almost every course. We must also share our opinions or ask questions in classes frequently in order to receive participation marks. There were also a few fieldworks to be done, and they were quite burdensome to me. I had to visit a few occasions, such as a traditional Korean music concert or K-pop concert, and observe everything that was happening for my field notes. It was a special experience, although it was a bit confusing and challenging for me at first. I often visit the central library in the campus, which houses a collection of 5.2 million volumes of books, more than 260,000 academic journals and e-journals, and over 230,000 of non-book materials. There were different study areas in the library, such as laptop zones, group study rooms, and multimedia rooms. I often use the public study area that does not require reservation and do my assignments there. However, if I do not need to use my laptop and just want to read, I will reserve a space at the study zone that does not allow the use of laptops using a machine outside of the study area, because the noise of keyboard typing might be a distraction to some people. There were even nap zones in Ondo that allowed students to rest for a bit. During my exchange period, I traveled to a few places in South Korea outside of Seoul to experience the locals' life. I went to Busan to watch the Busan Firework Festival with a few friends, and I really loved the Kwangali Beach and Kamcheon Village. Although it was chilly at night by the beach, it was still a nice view with the colorful bridges and the soft sand under our feet. Whereas the Kamcheon Village, which is a cultural village famous for the colorful houses and the arrangement, also made me feel pleased to witness it with my own eyes. It is mainly the Little Prince theme and a few other themes like BTS or cats, and they have pretty wall art, souvenir shops and cafes all around the village. The other locations I traveled to were Suwon, Anyang, and Ilsan, some peaceful cities which were not tourist centered, thus not many foreigners were spotted there. I went to these places alone and strolled around the city and not the tourist attractions to experience the locals' lifestyle. It was very peaceful in these cities, unlike the business and fast-paced lifestyle in Seoul. In Seoul, there are many broadcast stations, such as KBS, MBC, and SBS. They also have music shows weekly that allows K-pop idols to perform and promote their new songs. Therefore, I had the chance to attend the pre-recording of MBC Gayeodae Daejeon of the boy group ATEEZ, which was fascinating to witness the filming process, such as the camera works and how the idols and dancers mark their positions, as well as interacting very closely with the idols. Besides, I was also able to participate in a weekly radio show named MBC Idol Radio that had a transparent material that allowed fans to watch the show live from the outside. Although it was quite chaotic where we had to take a stool to save a spot for ourselves a week before, it was still worth the hard work to watch the show in live and interact with the DJs and the guests. There were many free concerts too that allowed audiences to watch without paying for tickets. I went to a few, and the Yeongdong-daero concert was one of the biggest concerts I'd went to, which featured many top artists like NCT Dream, Zico, ATEEZ, aespa, Stacey, and more. I even saw the idols doing rehearsals on the stage before the show started and was so excited. Since it was a big concert and there were too many people, the audiences at the back would have to rely on the big screens that show the performances at the main stage, but surely it was still a wonderful experience for K-pop fans. I also went to many pop-up stores held by various brands and different K-pop idols in Seongsu, Hongdae, and Itaewon. They have many photo zones and freebies for visitors, and you can make reservations if there were special events that you would like to experience. Some even made a pre-listening zone that allowed visitors to listen to their pre-release songs. Entrance fees are not required, but you can buy the merchandise related to the albums or brands they collaborate with. Another free event I went to was a photo exhibition held in Hongdae. It was a reservation-based exhibition, where each person had an hour to spend in the gallery. The theme was based on the daily life of the artist Kim Hong-jung of 80s and about what he sees from his perspectives. His inspiration came from the busy and fast-paced life of the people that seemed like non-stop running, thus he wants people to slow down and walk in their daily lives. It was very healing and relaxing, and I spent quality time in this exhibition. I joined the buddy organization, where a Korean buddy is assigned to 4 or 5 exchange students. The buddies did a great job by holding weekly dinners and local activities to allow foreigners to experience the culture. They had activities like temple stay, experiencing sauna, sport games, hiking, and trips to Busan or other places. Our Korean buddies also taught us about their cultures and do's and don'ts in South Korea. Thanks to this organization, I was able to know more people from everywhere and was able to do some cultural exchange with them and learn more about the world. I also went hiking with my international friends, but the hiking difficulty was quite hard even for regular hikers. Therefore, we really had a hard time climbing up and encouraged each other a lot. There were other events organized by the buddy organization on campus too, such as the International Food Festival and Superstar SMU. For the food festival, the international students and local students were given a chance to make and sell the food from a country. Therefore, there were many foods from all around the world on that day, such as Italy, Taiwan, China, Australia, Japan, France, Denmark, and more. Although it was a little pricey, it was worth the price to have a taste of various foods made by the natives. Next up was the Superstar SMU. It was an annual event hosted by the organization to provide an opportunity for international students to showcase their talents. I too participated in the event with a few international friends. We practiced and performed a medley of K-pop dances and often ate together after practices. On the day of the event, there were many other amazing performances such as band performances, dance performances, solo singing, and even rap performances. Most of them were performed by groups made up of different nationalities and races, thus I was really impressed about how different people can come together and put on great shows. As mentioned, some lecturers planned outdoor classes that allowed us to explore more about the cultures, such as visiting Gyeongbok Palace and hiking on the Gwanaksa Mountain. The lecturer guided us all along and explained to us when we were confused or curious about something. Another lecturer also brought us to several Korean traditional music concerts, such as the World Pansori Festival, that allowed us to understand about Korean traditional music, which were impressive but not so well known among the public. Thanks to these outdoor courses, I was able to explore more about the cultures and histories of South Korea from different perspectives. Lastly, SMU SISA, which stands for SMU International Student Association, also organized many events and trips for international students. Most of these events were free as SISA covered the fees for us to allow us to hang out together with the other exchange students and make more friends. The Korean Folk Village was one of the trip destinations, which is a living museum type of tourist attraction. We went archery, candle making, museum visiting, and had fun in the amusement park. We had so much fun as well as learning the traditional cultures of South Korea. SISA also held coffee break on every Thursday afternoon, where international students can come and chill and chat with each other. They offered various drinks and delicious snacks, and sometimes even mandarins for students to enjoy. They held a Christmas party too, and gave out free food and many gifts to us, and planned many games for us to enjoy. I actually went to South Korea without much expectation. I just wished to experience the local lifestyles and cultures, but now I really love there and would love to visit there again. This is my first ever country that I visited, my first time experiencing the four seasons, my first time seeing the leaves falling, my first time seeing the snow, my first time meeting the idols closely, my first time to speak Korean with the natives, and so much more of first experiences. Although it was only a 4-month exchange period, I had learned a lot and have no regrets at all for participating in this exchange program. I'm so grateful for everything that I experienced and everyone that I met. The opportunity provided by Maple University, the host university, and the GKS scholarship that allowed me to go on this wonderful journey. I will treasure these memories forever and will try to do whatever I can in return for the kindness I received.